Shell Thuet was a unique sort of man. He was a self-taught designer, engineer, and race engine builder. He came from very humble beginnings, being born in the San Fernando Valley area of Southern California. In his youth, he was a bit of a scoundrel and was a founding member of the 13 Rebels Motorcycle Club, and some have said that the character portrayed by Marlon Brando in the film The Wild Ones was based on Shell Thuet, but he was an ingenious tinkerer and was always making internal combustion engines run faster and more efficiently. He built and raced Indian motorcycles all over the Southern California region during his younger days. He served quite honorably in the Second World War, and upon his return from the war he resumed his association with motorized contraptions, specifically motorcycles. The Indian brand had taken a great hit during the war years, as that they were eclipsed by the mass success of the Harley-Davidson machines that were used during the war, and Indian just couldn't keep up and eventually closed its doors for good. Not having a ready supply of available Indians any longer, he gravitated towards the British mark of Royal Enfield. Although these motorbikes are considered to be British, they were primarily manufactured in India. So, in one sense, Shell was still able to use an Indian motorcycle for his racing endeavours. He built and raced these Royal Enfields throughout the 1950s and established a dealership in Linwood, California. As the 1950s made its exit and the 1960s came into the fold, Japanese manufacturers began importing motorbikes into the United States in droves, and they were quite successful. Honda was the dominant brand, but not far behind was the Yamaha brand, and Shell sold these new two-stroke Yamaha motorbikes at his dealership in Linwood. He was of course racing them as well and had a good bit of success drag racing with a Yamaha 250 twin. He continued racing in Southern California all through the 1960s and providing young gifted riders with machines that could win, although most of these machines were of a smaller displacement than the big bikes that brands like Harley-Davidson, Triumph and BSA produced. Flat track racing had begun in America quite a ways back in the 1930s and 1940s and steadily progressed as the decades passed. Initially, it was a battle between the two major manufacturers in America, Indian and Harley-Davidson. However, in the 1950s, British brands began popping up on the winning podiums at races all across the country. This British-American battle for the podium in the unlimited class of AMA-sanctioned Grand National Racing went on for the better part of a decade, seeing all brands having success and major wins. This began to change in the late 60s as two Japanese brands brought to market four-stroke parallel twin motorcycles of 650 cc's of displacement. Kawasaki had the W650 and Yamaha came out with the XS 650 in 1969, marketed as a 1970 model. Kawasaki abandoned production of the W650 in early 1970, leaving only Yamaha as the sole Japanese brand, producing a parallel twin 650. A bike big enough to be raced in the unlimited class of AMA-sanctioned Grand National races. And so Yamaha decided to go racing against the British and American brands with their XS 650 power plant as a basis for this racing endeavour. However, a stock motorcycle certainly couldn't hope to compete against race-designed and race-engineered machines from Harley, Triumph and BSA. They needed a bit of assistance in this, and the man they chose to provide that assistance was Shell Thuet. He had a long history of building winning machines, albeit of a bit smaller displacement, with the 500cc Royal Enfields and the two-stroke Yamahas. But Yamaha felt that he had the knowledge and engineering skill to produce a winning machine using the XS 650 engine. A stock XS 650 produces somewhere in the neighbourhood of 50 horsepower, but the engines Shell Thuet built produced nearly twice that amount of horsepower, and with this engine mounted in a very light, yet strong chromoly frame, these machines were absolute rockets. However, having a fast machine does not always equate to victory, and in order to accomplish that, you need very talented riders to pilot these powerful bikes. So, Yamaha hired a seasoned veteran named Don Castro and a talented young buck named Kenny Roberts. The Yamaha race team was rounded out with Randy Scott. These riders, along with Shell and his lovely wife, traversed the country in a motorhome on a quest to gain the #1 plate as the AMA Grand National Champion. A very prestigious status for any racer or any racing team. Shell Thuet prepared XS650s piloted by young Kenny Roberts achieved this goal of attaining the #1 plate in 1972, and they repeated the feat in 1973. While all of this was going on, Shell began producing and selling a multitude of products for racers and their machines with the creation of Shell Racing Specialties. He sold handcrafted lightweight chromoly frames, fuel tanks, seats and seat pans, forks, fork braces, specialized 19-inch wheel assemblies, brake parts, and just about anything a racer would need to build a race bike. In addition to these parts, he also had specialized engine components derived from his designs utilized in the Yamaha race engines. Some of these engine components were longer length connecting rods to allow a longer stroke, and thereby more compression and power for the XS650 engine. He also produced hand-ground camshafts for varying degrees of performance enhancement. Shell Racing Specialties remained in business until very late in his life, when his involvement in racing waned, and he ultimately retired. Very few people ever achieve the highest level of success, in whatever arena they may be involved in. There are only so many Joe Montanas or Tom Bradys in the world, and Kenny Roberts is one of those rare individuals that was capable of achieving the highest level of success, and he accomplished this riding motorcycles that were built by Shell Thuet. He went on to also achieve great success in Europe in the Grand Prix arena of motorcycle racing. But all of that racing success began with flat track racing in and around Bakersfield, California, on a beat-up Montesa. It has been quite a pleasure for me to share all of this with you, and I certainly hope you liked it as much as I enjoyed creating it. Please be kind enough to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can be informed when new material arrives. Oh yeah, and slam that like button as well, and I shall see you all in the next one.